Hello, everyone. This is the very first episode of Elemental Elevation. I am here with my boy Phil,
What's up?
and
What's up? What's up?
we're gonna see where this thing goes. So, how you doing?
I'm good, bro. How about you?
Hey, cannot complain. I think we're gonna start off tonight with basically the whole premise of this podcast. We're gonna reach out to the men and discuss being a father in today's society and the hurdles that comes with it. So, um, hey, lead the way, man.
I personally feel when it comes to fatherhood, there's different levels. Um, I feel a father is one that is at the top of the totem pole. Not to knock anybody. Just it's my personal feeling that you have a father, you have a dad, you have a daddy, and then you have a what they call a sperm donor. And there really is a difference between raising a female versus raising a male. And in today's time, there's so much more that I feel that we have to educate our kids on from the home first. I'm not gonna, you know, sugarcoat it. Our educational system right now is,
Broken.
yeah, very broken, and it's like they're like, and I feel that a lot is missed, and we're leaving it up to society, social media, telephone, stuff like that to raise our kids.
Everybody else but
But
ourselves.
been going through some fatherly issues with my oldest daughter. I personally feel like she's in that generation that was first, I guess you could say, pacified and raised by social media and reality shows. Um, I know myself as a black man versus because you have sons and a daughter. Um, what I try to convey to my daughters is that everything that glitters is not gold. The world sees you the way that you present yourself. That's the way I
100%.
feel. If you're out here on social media or just out in public general, carrying yourself ratchetly, um, then that's how the people gonna perceive you.
Yeah.
And I try to say, like, carry yourself with your head up high as a woman first. Respect yourself as a woman first. So I pretty much feel that I am in tune with the way that a vast majority of men think when it comes to the females. And I try to tell them, like, look, I've been a young male, I've been a mature male, I'm an older male. When it comes to women, our thought processes are not too far off from each other from whatever age bracket you want to take it. But how you present yourself is going to have effect on how they see you and treat you.
When it comes to a man trying to raise a woman in today's society, you're swimming upstream. I don't know a damn thing about raising a girl because I don't know a damn thing about being a girl. But I don't know how to raise a girl or to be a woman in today's society. Hell, I
Hmm.
barely know how to raise a man,
I know, right?
right? So it's we're already at a disadvantage, and I feel like there's one of us, but then there's 100 of her, because it's not just her, it's her, her friends, social media. So it's like the movie 300, right? Like we're battling 300 people to try to get through to help them not do something today that's going to mess them up for years in the future. We don't want them doing ratchety stuff. We don't want them posting ratchety stuff. We just don't we're trying to raise.
Self love and respectable.
Thank you. Thank you. In a world that almost doesn't want you to love yourself, because if you love yourself, then you don't need all the stuff that they're trying to sell you in order for you to feel like you love yourself.
Yeah, I think they're more objectifying you.
Absolutely. I am thankful that mine are out of school. I don't have to deal with that school nonsense and madness. I don't know how the hell you're gonna do it, man,
Yeah, I
because
know, right?
you got two that you got to deal with. But I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I think for me, when I had beef with my daughter, that hurt me more than when I had beef with my sons because I didn't already understand her. I didn't know how to truly communicate. So when that beef happened, and there were multiple, nights that I'd, lay in bed and wonder, like, I'd question everything from, am I a good father to, am I even a good person? Just because, I had beef with my kid. Um, it's difficult.
I feel you on that because with my oldest is like we had a falling out not too long ago, and I and when I say that I feel like I'm like, and then I hear stories of other people falling out. I'm like, why are we falling out with our children? What happened to where we stopped looking at them as kids and then start looking at them as regular people to the point where we fall out with them?
Yeah.
Um, my oldest, the more I try to instill in her and give her, I guess you could say, the life lessons and show her, it's like the more she bucks it. It's like, did I teach you anything? Did you listen? Did you follow the blueprint? You know what I'm saying?
How did your relationship with your father affect how you are as a father?
I didn't meet my father till I was about 21, 22. With that growing out without a father, I've had male role models, a couple even father figures, but I always said that in the event that I have kids, I will make sure I'm there every moment of their life because I don't want them to feel the way that I felt. What little boy don't want a father? What little girl don't want a father? Because I personally feel that a father is the daughter's first boyfriend, a mother is the son's first girlfriend because that's who is going to love them and nurture them first.
I don't think that that same mentality is carrying over to this younger generation
No,
because you and I both worked in the mental health field for a long time. We saw a lot of dysfunctional families, a lot of single moms, trying to raise a man. We see this younger generation. You and I both grew up really not having, a great relationship with our biological fathers. It made something in us say that whenever we have a kid, we're going to be there, right? We're going to be present and we're going to be there. I feel like this generation now, there's a lot of them that are growing up without a father around, but I don't know if they have that mentality. And so, what has changed over the last 25 years? I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, we are two different people from two different walks of life, but because of the father situation that we had, it gave us the same goal. So, there was a mentality there. Where's that mentality at now?
you have children birthing and raising children. They don't have the guidance because I'm not knocking anybody. This is just my perception of on how I view things from what I see on a day to day basis. I personally feel there's no guidance. They're growing up with their kids, so there's more of a friend relationship
Hmm.
than a parental. Even with older kids, I tell people
Right,
there's no grandparents anymore.
right. Grandparents are
They don't
grandparents
exist.
are 50 now, right? Instead of being like my grandparents were 70. Grandparents now are 50. And you learn a lot in 20 years. But I also wonder, look at how easy the last 30 years have been, right? Technology, nobody has to miss anybody anymore. You got a cell phone, FaceTime. And our grandparents, they went to war.
Mm.
They struggled through depression era stuff. They struggled through real life situations, life altering situations. I feel like sometimes now, somebody that might be old enough to be a grandparent, at 40, they haven't even had lived a life without basically a cell phone.
Mm.
So you haven't had to miss anybody. You haven't had to go without, because everything's been so readily available to us the last, couple of decades. I do wonder if it's a generation that we might have been the last generation that played outside
Hmm.
until dark, and our parents had no idea where the hell we were. Now I can ask my son where
That's
my
not safe
daughter
these
is, and he can pull it
days.
up on his phone. Everybody knows where everybody is at all times. And to me, that's complete insanity. We're losing the ability to miss people. We're losing the ability to trust people because you always know where they're at. Some of those trials that make you a sensitive, caring, longing for a relationship person, those aren't in society anymore. And I
And
think it affects how these kids are growing up.
oh
And
yeah,
because we didn't grow up that way, I don't know how to relate to them. I don't have a clue.
no, I've never liked the term "I'm friends with my kids," and I feel that's one of the issues with today's uh, kids. The relationship with the parents, they want to be friends. No,
I'll be friends with you
be
when we
friendly.
can drink a beer together in public. Like when you're 21 and we can sit at a bar and have a beer, at that point in time, we are more equal than we were prior to that. Up to 21, no, it has to be parent first. End of discussion. And I'm going to be honest with you, we need to get back to whooping some ass. I know that. We need to get back to
Up
whooping
the
some,
ass.
whoop that ass, man.
I mean, if you want to take it a step further, I mean, you can break it down into demographics too. Speaking as a black man in America, there's no shying away from it, but there is a large absence of a black father in today's black families.
We've discussed why we feel that there's been a separation of black fathers from the home. We've
I
discussed
mean,
that.
it's that's a long laundry list
That's a
right
long
there.
topic, man. Our
Oh,
government,
and yeah, yeah, the
government.
governments they set it all up. I mean, truth be told, yeah, the government is what started the downfall of the black male in the home. Um, and it's just a domino trickle down effect, which leads up to today, where you got the ones that wants to be fathers, but you got kids that are so in tune to social media and what they see everybody else doing that they don't want to hear what's coming out the mouths. I feel, regardless of the race of culture, all fathers face a lot of the same issues when it comes to parenting, raising kids. Um, and again, in today's society where it's mostly social media raised, I personally feel it's more of a struggle
Yeah.
because kids are not getting the real gist of the world. They're getting a sugared down version. And what I mean by that, these days, everybody gets a trophy.
Yeah.
I see where they're going as far as having the child feel included, but then you give them false hope because as they get older, and if they don't win, they're still going to be expecting to be rewarded.
Or if they don't work, they're expected to be paid.
Exactly.
So,
I feel that's more detrimental than doing good.
100%. It's good to learn to lose. If you're just telling everybody, congratulations, you win every time they do something, then what's the point of trying harder? What's the point of trying to get better? And it's a great point you make, because I think that it's little things like that that have chipped away from kids really realizing how important it is to have to work for what you want and that it's not just going to be given to you and everyone else.
Yeah, I mean,
And as a father, how do you parent in a world where everything tells your child you can have it now, anytime you want it, you can have it, whatever it might be. As a parent, how do you tell your child no in a world that never tells them no?
that's a good question.
Not only are we trying to be a father, but going back to what we talked about the split homes, we have to be a father to a daughter who's influenced by their mom. And different people have different parenting styles. So it's as a man, you are jumping hurdles on a daily basis because you're jumping the hurdle of being a father, you're jumping the hurdle of the spouse or ex-spouse that you had, and the ways that they parent. And I feel like fathers, especially, we are
We get a
we
bad
get a
rep.
bad rap. We do, man. We're like we have become the unappreciated class. And I don't care if you're black, white, green, turquoise, I don't give a damn. In today's society, men and fathers are bottom of the totem pole. And we used to be the providers, the foundation of the home, where everyone looked and leaned when they needed whatever it
Everything.
might, huh?
Everything.
Everything, yeah. So when when a man can't even be a man, how the hell can he be a father? We don't get the respect from society. And because we don't get the respect from society, and everyone in the world now thinks that society has all the answers, so society's telling everyone men aren't shit. I can't tell you how many times over the last 5 years of my kids going through high school, how many kids were walking around calling their parents by their first name. And my kids tried that one time, and I was like, no, I'm Jason to the world, but I'm dad to you. I earned that title. I earned the title. I've been there, I've paid the bills, I've supported you in everything you've done, I've picked you up when you've fallen down. I've earned the title of father, I've earned the title of dad. Don't disrespect me by calling me Jason. And they don't. They don't. But there's so many parents that allowed it. And just like you were talking about earlier, that's a chipping away of the respect, chipping away of the family foundation that has served us well for years and years and years in society. And when we lose the title of mom and dad, then we lose the importance of mom and dad. And then we get into that friend zone that you were talking about.
I think another thing that plays a role in how men father or parent the mother. If the mother's disrespectful to the father, then the child's gonna be disrespectful to the father.
We teach people how to treat us by what we allow, in the terms of their behaviors towards us. And if they grow up watching people talk down to you, then they're just going to think that's just a normal thing. As a father, it's hard to draw that line, especially in a separated home, because you already know that you're behind the eight ball. You already know 9 times out of 10, the mom's going to get custody. So the man's going to be pretty much on an island, getting whatever scraps the court system wants to throw his way. So we're already trying to figure out how to navigate without making people mad, right? Pissing people off. And you can't be your true self if you're worried about upsetting someone. But we already know that if we have to tell the kid no, and they go back and tell the mom, there's a lot of women out there now that'll take that as an opportunity to drive that wedge. Well, your dad wouldn't buy that for you. I get it. I got it. Your dad wouldn't do that for you. I got it. Don't
Favoritism.
favoritism. Whether people realize it or not, it drives a wedge between the father and the child, especially in that 8, 10 to 16, 18 range where like everything they want, you can't say yes to. And so you have to say no. And so we're trying to be a father to a daughter who's being influenced by someone who doesn't have our fatherly best interest in mind.
Mm.
So it's a it's a windy road full of a shit ton of potholes, and we don't have GPS. I mean, it's just that simple.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And I guarantee you, I'm probably not the only man who has sat in a room and allowed his questioning of being a good father go all the way down to questioning being a good human. And it chips away at you. It chips away at your self-confidence. It chips away at your just really desire to even get up some mornings. You if all you've ever wanted to be as a father and you allow people to put that doubt in your mind, watch out below.
I think every day I'm still learning to be a father because, like I said, I had father figures, role models, male role models, but that's different than having a actual father. That's why I say I'm still learning to be a father.
I feel like as a father, we're supposed to teach our kids everything that we know, right?
To be well rounded
To
in
be
all
well rounded.
facets of life.
Exactly. And that includes being a sympathetic, empathetic, and emotional person. Getting emotional, whether you're a male or a female, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's a natural bodily reaction that people have, and we need to be able to teach our kids to be able to tap into the emotions that they're feeling, but
Emotionally aware.
be emotionally aware. And just like you're saying, you're still learning to be a father. I'm still learning to be a father.
Yeah.
But my goal this year is I want to acknowledge my feelings as they come to me. And a perfect example was, yesterday, uh, Kelly was giving me some feedback on the podcast. And I'd kind of had a rough day, and I was not receiving the information and her ideas the way that I probably should have. And I got snappy. And so I realized I'm like, hey, wait, I'm not accepting, I'm not receiving uh, what you're handing out the way that I should. It's because I am not where I should be. So we always have to keep doing these self checks, right? Every day, check yourself. What do I say? Check yourself before you wreck yourself, right? I
Yeah.
mean, check yourself every day. And if you're not showing up in the right mind frame, you're not going to teach the right lessons. And some of my greatest regrets are when my kids were growing up and I was burnt out from the day or frustrated from, their mom or whatever it might be, and did not represent myself to them the way that I wanted to. And some of those actions were 15, 20 years ago, and I still
Mm.
feel bad about it. If we don't show up in the right mindset, we're not going to present the learning the way that we should, and they are not going to receive it the way that they should. And it's a wasted opportunity.
I feel you on that. Yeah, that's something that I had to adjust when it came to my kids, be more of a listener. But I feel you when you say if we're not our best selves, because if we're not right, how can we be an effective part of their lives in a positive manner?
We're trying to be a father and raise our kids in a new school world, but all we know is old school stuff, right? We know how to say yes ma'am, no ma'am. Like how do we as a man that cares about his fellow man? Okay, perfect example. If you if I watched Bash for You and he got out of line, you would expect me to to call him out on it, right? Like you wouldn't expect
Yeah,
me just to let him run all over the place.
exactly.
And because I was raised that way. People don't feel that they can do that now. So,
No, it's too
discipline
much.
is completely thrown out the window.
It's 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 too much. It's too much shit going on these days. You no, you can't do that because that kid goes home and say this to their parent, and the parent gonna fly off the hook and not actually, looking at the situation what it is. They just gonna be, oh, you said this to my child, and you did this to my child, and da 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 da. Look at what was being conveyed to the child. Which I'm not gonna do anything detrimental to your child that I would do to my child. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I'm gonna treat your child like he's my child. And
exactly.
what I put on that table for my kids to eat, that's what your kid gonna eat.
I saw something else that bothered me too. They were trying to downplay the role of stepfathers. There was this article that talked about how you're a simp if you raise another man's child. And I am the man I am today because my mom got remarried and that man raised me as I was his own. And so, whatever um, new school ideology we have going on that's supposed to dictate and paint the picture of what a real man is, what a real father is pretty damn twisted. And I think it takes a special man to raise another man's child, especially if you do it in a loving, caring, uplifting kind of way. I don't see how that's wrong or should be looked down upon.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, I applaud any man that steps into the role to be a father to someone else's child.
100%.
I mean, someone has to do it. Oh, yes, a woman can raise a boy, but she can't teach him how to be a man. Just like I feel a man can raise a daughter, but he can't teach her how to be a woman. What do
Cool.
we tell them to look forward to for the future? I mean, because I feel that the way things are going, that it's gonna be every man for himself. Get in where you fit in. The have nots. I just find it's gonna be a sad time in the future for kids.
But I'm gonna tell you the terrifying thing. The kids that we see coming up now are gonna be the ones taking care of us in 20 and 30 years. so so we better teach them right.
They call it old school thinking, but I don't find that I don't feel that it's old school thinking. I think it's just basic knowledge that you need to have as an individual. You know what I mean? Respect, morals
Well, respect and morals
go hand
are
in
are
hand.
common sense,
Yeah.
right?
Co-
And there's no common
Common
sense these
sense.
days.
Common sense.
Like
That's what I've been missing this.
so morals and all that, it was always common sense with us. If you bumped into somebody, excuse me,
Excuse me.
excuse me. If you cut somebody off, oh my bad. Everybody thinks that they're more important.
Called the be first syndrome.
Exactly, exactly.
I gotta be first. I gotta be first.
How to be a dad in a me first society when society treats you like you in last place. I mean, and I want every man that watches this to just know we're all in the same damn boat. I don't care if you got a great relationship. I don't care if you got baby mama drama. I don't care if you got, one kid, you got 10 kids. I don't care what color you are. Being a man is hard enough in today's society. Everybody expects you to be stern and hard and provide for the family, and you're not allowed to complain, and you're not. So,
And
and then you throw trying to raise a kid on top of that, and you're trying to raise them with morals and common sense and self decency and confidence in themselves and love for their fellow man, when everything around them, everyone around them, is almost focused on the opposite, me first. And it's a society thing now. So we can't move forward with the way that we want to raise our kids, because every time we turn around, society is telling us that the way we're raising them is wrong. How do we navigate the undulating insanity that is thrown our way on a daily basis without going insane, without losing our minds? And I guarantee you that is probably one of the leading factors why men are walking around so damn angry all the time, because we know that we can see society eroding around us. And I'm not going to get into politics, but I don't give a damn if you're Democrat, Republican, Independent. At some point in time, as men, we need to stand up and go, some shit ain't right. If we raise our kids the way we are now, if we're trying to raise them with morals and human decency, and they're not grasping this concept, we're having more
we
and
fail.
more kids just getting wilder and wilder. What's going to happen with the next generation? We're losing control.
You follow your kids on social media?
Instagram. But they have regular page and then they have private page. So I'm just on the regular page. I don't want to know a thing about what's on those private pages.
If I go to her page, is it gonna piss me off? Am I gonna get on the phone, be like, "Hey, you need to take this down,"
Yeah.
trying to navigate that and father that, then fast forward to where she's older and different influences with today's society? It's like, what? Take the training wheels off, let her go, just beat her for. I try to instill in you, you know, knowledge, wisdom, but it's time for you to quote unquote do what you feel is necessary for you to make.
I just told this to Marley the other day. You're old enough now. I'm gonna let you swim on your own, and you might get tired, and you might feel like you want to quit, and I'm gonna let you swim, but I'm not gonna let you drown. And I think that's where we have to adjust our mentality a little bit. We
Everything.
need to teach them how to navigate. We need to teach them how to navigate conversations with people, interviewing processes, how you interact with people on a day-to-day basis. It amazes me how, with all of this technology and FaceTime, but when you get into this FaceTime, they don't know how to communicate with someone that they don't know. They can't walk into a restaurant and ask somebody what the wait time is. They have no clue how to function in society. So I think we almost have to push them out the boat and say, swim. But just know I'm not going to let you drown. Just know that before you go underwater, I'm going to reach in there, I'm going to grab you up, I'm going to help you navigate, and I'm going to push you back in the water, and I'm going to keep pushing you in that water until you can swim through all of these channels and all of these waves that life is going to throw at you. And it's difficult because, like you, we want to make everything right. Like I wish I had unlimited money to throw at my kids. I wish I had unlimited knowledge to throw at my kids. I wish I had unlimited resources, connections in the world for jobs and all of this other kind of stuff, but I don't. And I'm still learning, but as I learn, I'm trying to pass that information down to them. And as like I said, I'm not going to leave them behind. I'm a as I grow, I'm going to pull them along. I'm going to, what do they say? Teach a man to fish, feed him for life, right? I mean, and that's where we're at. We've been giving them the bread, and we've been giving them the fish. Now it's time to teach them how to make the bread, teach them how to fish, teach them how to be self-sufficient, which is a lost art these days.
Mm.
All fathers should find some type of outlet, whether it be a men's group, whether it be a class, whether it be counseling. Every couple of months, you need to get the garbage out, right? And start fresh. And unfortunately, that type of a support type system for men is looked at as weak. They'd much rather just, let's go to a ball game and just, let me put this smile on even though I'm sad inside. So I've known you more than half my life. So fortunately, we were able to learn from each other, to help each other, to lean on each other during difficult times. And if there's another man out there that has that friendship, that brotherhood like that, fantastic. But I feel like the problem is most men are going to talk about all the things that really have no relevance in life, and they're not going to tap into the things that are making our lives just a little bit more difficult.
Well, the truth is scary.
Yeah, unpacking those bags are scary. I mean, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and realize that maybe I got some shit going on. And until you can acknowledge the fact that you got some shit going on, then you can start, doing what you got to do to navigate. Because, like we talked about earlier, how am I going to teach my kids how to be an adult when sometimes I don't even feel like a damn adult?
Mm. Yeah, that's what I gotta go to. Like when I said, I'm still learning to be a father. I'm still learning to be an adult. That shit didn't come with no instructions.
Nah.
the the instructor, we don't have instructors like we had before.
Well, they say being a parent never came with an instruction manual, but also being a kid never came with an instruction manual either. The kids are learning as we're learning.
I
We're
feel
just one of we're one of 100 teachers that they have on a day-to-day basis. Our biggest thing is consistency. We
yeah.
got to be consistent.
I've always said the first teachers were in home because until they go to school, you got that 5 years to mold that individual. And if you do a piss poor job of that, and they go to school, they ain't gonna try to listen to what's been
Mm-mm.
taught to them then, even though it may be some bullshit. But I just feel we just. I was told one time that there's a difference in being present and being present and active. So just being there, yeah, that shows that you're there, but being there and being active, it's a lot more profitable.
I see a lot of parents like this when they're around their kids now. You're not present and you're not active.
The
So,
parents, the kids, everybody is in their phone.
mm-hmm.
Is
Yeah.
in their phone.
Well, one last thing that I got to say, and I want you to know, you said something to me a couple months back.
I be saying a lot of shit.
Yeah, you do. Most of it be random as hell, by the way. But you said something to me a while back, and it stuck with me. And I'm going to say this to the black men that may be listening, because this white dude learned something from this guy. You said the conversations that a black father has with his son before he leaves the house is different than the conversation a white man has with his son before he leaves the house. I never thought about that. It never crossed my mind to have a conversation with them. And I don't even know how to even start that conversation. And father to father, I don't even know how you have that conversation. And I just want you to know that you and every man out there, especially the black men, I got a lot of newfound respect for the black fathers after that statement. It was something that I hadn't had it broken down to me that way. And it allowed me to really see not only the additional struggles that black men may have, um, but also the additional struggles that black young men, black children are having to navigate. And because we just take it for granted, right? I never allowed myself to think down that path.
Mm.
And I want you to know I appreciate it because it's stuck with me, man. It really has.
Crazy thing about it is, I have those conversations with my nephews because
Bro, he's my he.
my son is biracial,
Yeah, he look more like
and
me.
he looks straight up. You can't tell that he's biracial.
Nah,
You see some of my features in him, but my son looks like a typical white boy. So I haven't had the talks that I have with him as being as a male son. I the conversations, like I said, I had those conversations with my nephews because they're teenagers and their upbringing. It's just the area that they've been brought up in, the things that they're subjected to on a day to day basis is totally different from what my son is subjected to. Yeah, it's crazy that we have to have those conversations in the 21st century. The conversations that I have with my nephews, the little things that I be saying to them, little jewels I be dropping to, is things that I would say that fathers used to talk to their sons about back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, because Jim Crow was just in the 60s.
mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's crazy that we have to still have those conversations to this day. But yeah, man, it's crazy. And I'm still waiting to have those type of talks with my son, even though he is a biracial child who looks predominantly white. I feel that the way the society is going today, I'm going to have eventually have those conversations with him. With the way society is today, I may have to have those conversations that I have with my nephews with my son because it's really getting ridiculous. It's not getting it's past
Past
ridiculousness.
ridiculous.
But yeah, it's a shame that we have to have those conversations with our sons. My last comment thought was is that we as men we have to stand up. We have to do better. If not for ourselves, for our children. If not for that, for society, period. Because this is a crazy time right now. And what you said, our kids is going to be taking care of us. I want to know that when I'm in a situation where I have to rely on my kids to take care of me, I want to know that they have the knowledge, the ability, the resources to take care of me
The
and
compassion.
themselves. Yeah, because it's shit's crazy right now, B.
Yeah.
And I personally see it getting worse before it gets better. And that's just on the overall scale of society itself, not to dwell on one particular aspect of just a society as a whole. I feel that we're doomed before it gets better. So that's my closing thoughts.
Well, we appreciate everybody spending some time with us today. Hopefully we have got the conversation started for men to do some self evaluation, get yourself right, and then let's stand up. Let's go back to being the foundation of the home, the foundation of our children's knowledge. Um, let's try to
Use common sense.
use common sense and let's just try to be the man and the father that we always wanted to be um, growing up. You know, whether you had a good one or you didn't, you had a kid for a reason, and remember what that reason was, and try to guide them down a path that will make them better when it comes their time to be a father. So we appreciate everybody being here tonight. Once again, Elemental Elevation. Hopefully, guys, you can check us out next time we come around. And like and subscribe this video, and you'll get the notifications next time we get something posted. So thank you very much for spending time with us, and God bless.
Good evening.